Hey there, everyone. Let's jump right into this crazy story. Picture this, it's the 4th of July, my favorite day ever. My name's Jake, at least that's what we'll call me today. I'm the guy who loves fireworks more than anything. Big ones that boom loud, small ones that sparkle, loud ones that make you jump, it doesn't matter to me. I love them all. For weeks, I'd been getting ready for this night. I had a big plan. My backyard was all set up with a table for my fireworks, some chairs for my friends, and a perfect spot to watch the sky light up with colors. I couldn't wait. My friends were coming over soon, and we were going to have the best time ever. In my neighborhood, everybody knows me. They call me the fireworks kid. I'm 25 years old now, but I've been doing this since I was little. Every year, I put on a show. People smile when they see me carrying my boxes of fireworks. They wave at me from their porches. Sometimes, they even bring their kids to watch. It's like a little party for everyone. The 4th of July is my day to shine, and I make sure the sky shines too. Red, white, and blue sparks everywhere, it's awesome. But there's one person who never smiles. Her name is Karen, and she lives right next door to me. Karen is the opposite of fun. She's the president of our HOA. That's the group that makes all the rules for our neighborhood. She's the kind of person who walks around with a ruler, checking people's grass. If it's even a tiny bit too long, like half an inch, she writes you a note and tells you to fix it. She loves rules more than anything. And me? She doesn't like me at all. Every year, when I start my fireworks, she stands on her porch and stares at me with mean eyes. She'll say stuff like, "This is against the rules, Jake," or "You're too loud." I just smile and keep going. It's the 4th of July, fireworks are what you're supposed to do. This year, though, something felt different. Karen wasn't just mad. She was ready to do something big. I didn't know it yet, but she was about to try to ruin my favorite day. She thought she was so smart, calling me out and making a fuss. But here's the wild part, she had no idea what was coming her way. Nope, not a clue. Something huge was about to happen, and it wasn't just my fireworks lighting up the night. This story is going to get crazy, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. Let's go back to that day. It started out perfect. The sun was shining, the air smelled like summer, and I was busy setting up. I had all my fireworks lined up in the backyard. There were little ones called sparklers that you hold in your hand. They make pretty golden sparks. Then I had some bottle rockets, those shoot up fast and pop in the sky. And my favorite? A giant one called the Thunder King. It was the biggest firework I'd ever bought. I saved up my money for months to get it. It was going to be the best part of the night, the big finish that everyone would talk about. I made sure it was legal, too. I checked the rules, just to be safe. Everything was ready, and I was so excited. My friends were on their way. There's Mike, who's always laughing at everything. There's Sarah, who loves taking pictures of the fireworks. And a few others who just like hanging out and having fun. We were going to eat hot dogs, play some music, and watch the sky turn into a rainbow of colors. The kids down the street were excited too. I could hear them shouting, "Jake's doing fireworks tonight." It made me happy. I love seeing everyone smile and cheer. That's what the 4th of July is all about, having a good time with the people around you. But then there's Karen. She's like a dark cloud on a sunny day. She's tall and skinny, with a face that's always frowning. Her house is right next to mine, so she can see everything I do. She's got short hair that's always perfect, and she wears these big glasses that make her look like she's judging you. Every year, she finds something to complain about. One time, she said my fireworks were too smoky. Another time, she said they scared her cat. I don't even think she has a cat. She just likes to grumble. I try to be nice. I wave at her sometimes or say, "Happy 4th, Karen." But she never waves back. She just glares and walks away. This year, I saw her peeking out her window while I was setting up. I had my fireworks on the table, and I was testing one of the little sparklers. It fizzed and sparkled in my hand. I looked up, and there she was watching me like a hawk. Her lips were pressed tight, like she was already mad. I thought, oh great, here we go again. She'd probably come out later and yell at me, same as always. But I didn't let it bother me. I had my friends, my fireworks, and a perfect night ahead. What could she really do? Tell me to stop? She'd tried that before, and I just kept going. It's my yard, my day, my fun. Still, something about her glare this time felt off. It wasn't just her usual grumpy look. It was sharper, meaner. Like she had a plan. I brushed it off and kept working. The sun was starting to set, and the sky turned orange and pink. It was almost time to start. My friends would be here soon, and the show was about to begin. I had no idea that Karen was about to take things way too far. She thought she could stop me, ruin my night, and come out on top. But she didn't know the truth. Something big was already happening, something she never saw coming. So, here's a question for you, viewers: what would you do if someone tried to mess up your favorite day? Would you ignore them? Fight back? Tell me in the comments below. And stick around, because this story is just getting started. Karen thought she was the boss, but oh boy, was she in for a surprise. The 4th of July was about to get a lot more exciting than I ever planned. Let's keep going, this is going to be wild. The sun was gone now. It sank below the houses, and the sky turned dark. That's when my friends showed up at my house. I was so happy to see them. There was Mike, who's always making jokes, and Sarah, who loves fireworks almost as much as I do. A few other buddies came too, all ready for a fun night. We had everything set up in my backyard. There were sparklers, those little sticks that make bright, fizzy lights when you hold them. We had bottle rockets too, those zip up into the sky and pop with a bang. And the best part? I had saved up my money for something huge. It was a giant firework called the Thunder King. It was the biggest one I'd ever gotten, and I couldn't wait to light it up. I made sure it was okay to use, too. I checked the rules, and it was totally legal. No problems there. We started the show. I lit the first sparkler, and it hissed and glowed in my hand. Then we set off a few bottle rockets. They shot up fast, whoosh, and burst into red, white, and blue sparkles. The sky looked like a big, colorful painting. Down the street, I could hear kids yelling and clapping. "Wow, Jake! That's so cool," they shouted. It made me smile. This was exactly what I wanted: a fun night with my friends and a big show for everyone to enjoy. The 4th of July was going great so far. But then, everything changed. I saw her, Karen. She came stomping out of her house next door, and she didn't look happy. She was wearing her bathrobe, all fluffy and white, like she'd just gotten out of bed. Her hair was messy, and her face was red with anger. She had her phone in her hand, holding it up like a weapon. "Jake," she yelled. Her voice was loud and sharp, like a teacher catching you chewing gum in class. "You're breaking the law. I'm calling 911 right now." She pointed at me with her other hand, her eyes narrow and mean. I rolled my eyes. Karen always said stuff like that. Every year, she'd come out and complain about my fireworks. Too loud, she'd say, or too dangerous. But she never actually did anything. She'd just grumble and go back inside. So I didn't think much of it this time. My friend Mike was standing next to me, holding a sparkler. He started laughing. "Let her try," he said, shaking his head. "She's just mad because she's not invited." Poor Karen, all alone with no fun. Sarah giggled too, and I grinned. We weren't scared of her. She was just being her usual grumpy self. I lit another bottle rocket pop, and watched it explode in the sky. No big deal, right? But then I heard something. It was a little noise, but it made my stomach flip. Beep beep beep. It was the sound of her phone dialing. I turned my head and looked at her. Karen was pressing buttons, and then she held the phone to her ear. She wasn't kidding this time, she was really calling the cops. Over fireworks. My fireworks. I couldn't believe it. My mouth dropped open a little. Was she serious? Fireworks on the 4th of July aren't a crime, they're a celebration. But there she was, standing on her porch, talking into her phone. I couldn't hear everything, but I caught a few words. Yes, loud noises, emergency. She was making it sound like I was doing something awful. Karen looked at me while she talked. Her lips curled up into a smirk, a sneaky, happy little smile. It was like she thought she'd finally won. For years, she'd been mad about my fireworks, and now she was going to stop me. She stood there, tall and proud, like a queen who just caught a thief. My friends stopped laughing. Mike whispered, "Is she for real?" Sarah frowned and said, "She's crazy." I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to laugh, it was so silly. Calling 911 over fireworks? But another part of me felt mad. This was my night, my fun, and she was trying to ruin it. I worked hard to make this happen, and now the police might come? All because of her? I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. Maybe she was bluffing. Maybe she'd hang up and go back inside. I turned back to my friends and said, "Let's keep going. She's not the boss of us." Mike nodded and handed me another sparkler. "Yeah, don't let her win," he said. So I lit it up, and the little golden sparks danced in the air. We weren't going to stop, not yet. The kids down the street were still cheering, and the sky was still dark and ready for more colors. Karen could complain all she wanted. This was my night. But that smirk on her face, it stuck with me. She looked so sure of herself, like she had a big secret. I started to wonder. Why was she so bold this time? She'd never called the cops before. What made tonight different? I didn't know it then, but something big was already happening. It wasn't just my fireworks lighting up the dark. There was trouble brewing, and it was coming for Karen, not me. She thought she was in charge, but she had no idea what was about to hit her. The air felt heavier now. The fun was still there, but I could feel something else too, something tense, like a storm getting ready to break. My friends kept chatting and laughing, but I kept glancing at Karen. She was still on her phone, talking fast. Her bathrobe flapped a little in the breeze, and her voice got louder. "Hurry up," I heard her say. She really wanted the cops to come fast. I shook my head. This was getting ridiculous. But deep down, I had a funny feeling. Something wasn't right. Not with me, but with her. See, Karen didn't know it, but she wasn't the only one with a plan that night. My fireworks were loud and bright, sure, but something else was sneaking up, quiet and secret. She thought she was winning by calling 911. She thought she'd get me in trouble and shut down my fun. But the truth? Oh, the truth was so much bigger than that. Trouble was already on its way, and it wasn't coming for me. It was coming for her. And when it got here, she'd wish she'd never picked up that phone. The night was getting louder, and I wasn't about to stop. My fireworks kept going, pop, pop, pop. The sky lit up with bright colors, like a big party in the air. My friends were having a blast. I grabbed another sparkler, held it up, and watched the little golden sparks dance around. It was so cool. But then there was Karen, still standing on her porch, yelling into her phone. She made sure I could hear her. "Yes, officer," she said, her voice loud and bossy. "There's a disturbance. Loud noises, dangerous explosions. Send someone quick." She sounded like she was in a movie, acting all serious and scared. I just shook my head. Really? Dangerous explosions? They were just fireworks. My friends thought it was hilarious. Mike leaned over to me, trying not to laugh too loud. "She's so dramatic," he whispered. Sarah nodded, giggling behind her hand. "Yeah, she's acting like you're blowing up the whole neighborhood," they said. I grinned and kept going. I wasn't going to let Karen ruin my fun. She could talk all she wanted, I had sparklers to light and a big show to finish. The kids down the street were still cheering, shouting my name. That's what mattered to me. Not her silly phone call. But then, something caught my eye. I looked over at Karen's yard, and it hit me, her place was way too quiet. She was complaining about all my noise, saying it was too loud and bothering her. But her house? Nothing. No lights on, no music, no sound at all. It was weird. She was out here yelling at me, but her own yard was like a ghost town. I stopped for a second, holding my sparkler, and thought about it. Why was it so quiet over there? Something didn't feel right. Then I remembered something from a few days ago. It was a little thing, but now it seemed important. I'd been outside, just messing around in my yard, when I saw a black car pull up to Karen's house. It wasn't a car I knew. A guy got out. He was tall, wearing a dark jacket. He walked up to her door, and Karen came out fast. She looked around, like she didn't want anyone to see her. The guy handed her a bag of brown paper one, all crumpled up. She took it quick, said something I couldn't hear, and went back inside. The guy drove off, and that was it. At the time, I didn't care much. Maybe it was groceries or something boring. But now, standing here with my fireworks, it started to bug me. Why did she look so nervous that day? What was in that bag? I shook my head and tried to focus on the fun. Don't be silly, Jake, I told myself. She's just a grumpy lady who hates fireworks. But the more I thought about it, the more it stuck in my mind. Karen wasn't just a mean neighbor who liked rules. She was acting strange, like she had a secret. A big one. My fireworks were loud and bright, but maybe Karen was hiding something even louder. I didn't know what it was yet, but it was starting to click. Little pieces were coming together, like a puzzle I didn't even know I was solving. While I was thinking, the fireworks kept going. Mike lit a bottle rocket, and it zoomed up whoosh, then popped into a big red star. Nice one, I said, clapping him on the back. Sarah grabbed her phone and took a picture. This is awesome, Jake, she said. We were all smiling, trying to keep the good vibes going. But Karen wouldn't quit. She was still on her phone, pacing back and forth on her porch. Yes, it's happening right now, she said, her voice getting sharper. You need to hurry. She kept looking at me, smirking like she'd already won. It made me mad, but I didn't show it. I just lit another sparkler and waved it around, pretending she wasn't there. Then I heard its sirens. Far away at first, like a little wail in the wind. My heart sank a bit. Were those for me? Was Karen really going to get me in trouble over this? I looked at my friends, and they heard it too. Mike's smile faded. Uh-oh, he said. She wasn't kidding. Sarah put her phone down and frowned. Are the cops really coming? She asked. I didn't know what to say. My fireworks were legal, I checked. But Karen was making it sound like I was some kind of bad guy. My stomach twisted a little. I didn't want my night to end like this. I worked so hard for it. The sirens got louder, closer. I could feel them now, that wail cutting through the air. Karen's smirk grew bigger. She crossed her arms, still holding her phone, and stared at me like she'd beaten me. See, Jake, she called out. I told you. They're coming for you. My friends looked worried, and I felt a tiny bit scared. What if the cops didn't believe me? What if they made me stop? All my plans, the Big Thunder King finale, gone because of her? I clenched my fists and tried to stay cool. We'll figure it out, I told my friends. She's not stopping us yet. But here's where it gets good. Those sirens. They weren't for me. Nope, not even close. I didn't know it yet, but something wild was about to happen. Karen thought she was so smart, calling the cops and acting like the boss. But she didn't see what was coming. That quiet yard of hers, that weird guy with the bag, it all meant something. Trouble was rolling in, and it wasn't my fireworks causing it. It was her. She was in the middle of something big, and she had no idea it was about to crash down on her. The night felt different now. The air was thick, like something heavy was hanging over us. My fireworks kept popping, bright and happy, but my mind was racing. What was Karen up to? Why did she look so nervous that day with the black car? And why was her house so quiet tonight? I didn't have answers yet, but I could feel it, something was off. My friends kept cheering, trying to keep the fun alive. Don't worry about her, Mike said, tossing me another sparkler. She's just jealous. I nodded, but I wasn't so sure. Karen wasn't just jealous. She was hiding something, and it was starting to show. The sirens were loud now, screaming through the streets. They were close, really close. Karen looked so proud, like she'd won a big prize. But me? I was starting to wonder. Those cops weren't coming for my fireworks. They were coming for something else. Something Karen didn't expect. The night was about to flip upside down, and I couldn't wait to see what happened next. The night was crazy now. My fireworks were still popping in the sky, little bursts of red and blue, but something way bigger was happening. I heard tires squeal, loud and sharp, like in a car chase movie. Then I saw it, a police car flew around the corner. Its lights flashed red and blue, spinning fast, lighting up the whole street. Karen was still on her porch, and when she saw that car, her smirk grew huge. It stretched across her face, big and mean. She pointed at me with one bony finger, like a bad guy in a cartoon. "See, Jake," she shouted, her voice loud and proud. "You're done for. I told you the cops would come." She looked so happy, like she'd finally caught me doing something wrong. My friends groaned next to me. Mike threw his hands up and said, "Oh man, this is nuts." Sarah shook her head, looking worried. "What do we do, Jake?" she asked. I took a deep breath. My heart was beating fast, but I wasn't scared yet. I knew my fireworks were okay. I checked the rules. If the cops came to my house, I'd just explain everything. "It's fine," I told my friends. "I'll talk to them. Karen's just being silly." I was ready to walk over and tell the police my side of the story. No big deal, right? But then boom, everything changed. Another police car zoomed in, its siren screaming loud. The lights flashed even brighter, bouncing off the houses. My eyes went wide. 2 cop cars? That was weird. Before I could even think, a third one pulled up screech, right behind the others. My friends froze. 3 cars. Mike whispered. "That's a lot." I nodded, confused. "Why so many? Were they really that mad about fireworks?" But here's the best part, they didn't stop at my house. Nope. All 3 cars sped past my yard and slammed on their brakes right in front of Karen's place. Dust flew up from the road, and the sirens went quiet. It was like the whole world stopped for a second. Karen's smirk disappeared fast. Her face turned white, like she'd seen a ghost. "Wait, what?" she said, her voice all shaky now. She took a step back, clutching her bathrobe tight. She didn't look so tough anymore. I stared at her, then at the cops. What was happening? One of the officers jumped out of his car. He was big, with a serious face, and he held a megaphone, a thing that makes your voice super loud. He lifted it to his mouth and shouted, "Karen Thompson, come out with your hands up." His voice boomed across the street, deep and strong. It wasn't a question, it was an order. My jaw dropped. I mean, it literally fell open. I couldn't believe it. My friends started whispering fast. "What's going on?" Mike asked, his eyes huge. Sarah grabbed my arm. "Jake, did you hear that? They said her name," she said. I nodded, still staring. I didn't know what was happening, but I wasn't about to miss a single second of this. The cops weren't here for me, they were here for Karen. How crazy was that? She'd been yelling at me, calling 911 like she was the boss, but now she was the one in trouble. Big trouble. Karen looked like she wanted to run. Her hands shook, and her phone slipped a little in her fingers. "This is a mistake," she yelled back at the cops. "You've got the wrong person." But the officer didn't care. He shouted again, "Karen Thompson, hands up. Now." More cops got out of the cars. They had serious faces and stood ready, like they meant business. The neighbors started peeking out too. Lights flicked on in houses, and people opened their doors to watch. Everyone wanted to know what was going on with Karen. Then it hit me, that bag. You remember, the one I saw a few days ago? The guy in the black car, handing her something while she looked all nervous? It wasn't groceries or mail or anything normal. It was something bad. Really bad. Turns out, the cops had been watching Karen for weeks. Not me, her. They knew she was up to no good. She'd been selling illegal stuff, things that are against the law, way worse than fireworks. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was serious. The kind of stuff that gets you in huge trouble. And here's the funniest part, she called 911 on me, thinking she'd get me caught, but the cops were already coming for her. Talk about the worst timing ever. I started to laugh. I couldn't help it. It was so wild. Mike looked at me like I was crazy. "What's so funny?" he asked. I pointed at Karen. "She thought she was winning, but she's the one in trouble," I said. Sarah giggled too. "Oh wow, this is better than the fireworks," she said. We stood there, watching as the cops moved closer to Karen's porch. She was yelling now, waving her arms. "No, no, no. You don't understand. It's him." She pointed at me again, desperate. "He's the one with the fireworks. Arrest him." But the cops didn't even look my way. They kept their eyes on her. The officer with the megaphone stepped forward. "Karen Thompson, we have proof. You're under arrest," he said. My friends and I gasped. Proof. Arrest. This was huge. Karen's face went from white to red. She looked mad and scared all at once. "This is ridiculous," she shouted. But it was too late. Two more cops walked up her steps, slow and steady. One of them had handcuffs, those shiny metal rings they put on bad guys. Karen saw them and freaked out. "No. You can't do this," she screamed. But they could. And they did. I couldn't stop staring. My fireworks were still going off behind me, pop, pop, fizz, but this was the real show now. Karen, the mean lady who hated my fun, was the one in hot water. She thought she was so smart, calling the cops on me. But she didn't know they'd been watching her all along. That bag, that guy, her sneaky little secret, it all came crashing down. And me? I was just the kid with the fireworks, having a good time. She messed up big, and now everyone could see it. The neighbors were whispering too. "What did she do?" someone asked. "I knew she was trouble," another voice said. The whole street was buzzing. My friends and I just stood there, amazed. This was the wildest 4th of July ever, and it wasn't even over yet. Karen's big plan to stop me had blown up in her face. And the best part? The night was about to get even better. The cops didn't waste any time. They grabbed Karen's hands and snapped those shiny handcuffs right on her wrists. She was still in her fluffy white bathrobe, looking silly now instead of scary. She didn't like it one bit. "This is a mistake," she screamed, her voice loud and wild. She pointed at me with her cuffed hands, shaking them like a crazy person. "It's him you want. He's the one with the fireworks," she yelled, trying to make me the bad guy. But the officer wasn't having it. He was a big guy with a calm face. He just shook his head and said, "Ma'am, we've got evidence. You're done." His voice was firm, like he wasn't going to argue. Karen's mouth opened, but no words came out. She knew she was caught. The cops started walking her to the police car. She dragged her feet a little, still yelling, but it didn't matter. They were strong, and they pulled her along. "No. You can't do this," she shouted, but they could, and they did. They opened the car door, pushed her inside, and slammed it shut. The whole neighborhood came out to see. People stepped onto their porches, peeked out windows, and stood in their yards. Some were whispering to each other. "What did she do?" one lady asked. "She's finally gone," a man said, laughing. A few kids even clapped, like it was a show. Everyone was watching Karen get taken away, and nobody felt bad for her. I turned to my friends, Mike and Sarah, and grinned big. "Guess the show's not over yet," I said. They smiled back, excited. We weren't done having fun, no way. I ran to my table and grabbed the Thunder King, that giant firework I'd saved up for. It was the best one, the loudest and brightest, and now was the perfect time to use it. I set it up quick, lit the fuse, and stepped back. Whoosh! It shot up into the sky, higher than anything else we'd done. Then boom, it exploded. The whole sky lit up with huge sparkles, red, white, blue, and gold. It was so loud, I felt it in my chest. The crowd went wild. "Wow," the kids screamed. "That's amazing, Jake," someone yelled. Everyone cheered, clapping, and jumping. For once, nobody complained, not even the grumpy old guy down the street. It was awesome. I looked around and laughed. This was my night, and it was better than I ever dreamed. Karen was gone, hauled off in that cop car, and I got to keep my fun. She'd been the HOA tyrant for years, always bossing people around, making rules, and yelling at me about my fireworks. But now, her reign was over. Done. Finished. She couldn't tell anyone what to do anymore. The cops had her, and they weren't letting her go. All that stuff she was hiding, the illegal things she sold, caught up with her. She thought she could ruin my 4th of July, but instead, she ruined herself. And me? I got a front row seat to watch it all happen. How cool was that? My friends high-fived me. "You're the king tonight, Jake," Mike said, laughing. Sarah nodded. "Yeah, Karen messed up big time," she said. We stood there, watching the last bits of the Thunder King fade in the sky. The air smelled like smoke and summer, and I felt so happy. The neighbors were still out, talking and smiling. Some waved at me, giving me thumbs up. "Great show, Jake," a lady called. It felt good. Really good. Karen's mean words and sneaky phone call didn't win. I did. My fireworks did. And the whole street got to see her go down. The cop cars started to drive away, their lights flashing as they took Karen off. She was probably still yelling inside, but we couldn't hear her anymore. Good riddance, I thought. This 4th of July turned out to be the best one yet, not just because of the fireworks, but because justice happened. Karen got what she deserved, and I got my night back. Perfect. The last spark from the Thunder King twinkled in the sky, then faded away. I stood there in my backyard, looking up, and I couldn't stop smiling. What a night! The air was quiet now, except for a few neighbors still chatting and laughing. My friends were next to me, grinning just as big. We did it, we had our fun, and Karen couldn't take it away. I thought about everything that happened, and it made me feel good inside. Sometimes, life is funny like that. The people who act all big and bossy, like they're in charge of everything, might be hiding something sneaky. That was Karen. She thought she was the queen of the neighborhood, always telling me what to do. But guess what? She had secrets, big ones, and they came out tonight. Karen wanted to ruin my 4th of July. She called the cops, smirked at me, and acted like she'd won. But in the end, she didn't just lose, she lit the fuse to her own big finish. That's right. All her yelling and pointing at me? It didn't work. Instead, it was like she set off her own firework, a giant mess that blew up right in her face. The cops took her away, and I got to keep my night. It was better than any sparkler or bottle rocket. Watching her get caught showed me something important: you can't hide the truth forever. It always finds a way out, sometimes with a loud bang, just like my fireworks. So here's the lesson, viewers: keep being you. Don't let anyone stop you from doing what you love. If you've got a grumpy Karen in your life, someone who's always mad or trying to boss you around, don't worry too much. Let them figure out their own mess. You just keep going, having fun, being kind, and doing your thing. People like Karen might think they're smart, but they can't win forever. The truth comes out, and when it does, it's your time to shine. I learned that tonight. My fireworks lit up the sky, but the real light was seeing Karen's tricks fall apart. It felt fair. It felt right. I looked at my friends and the neighbors still hanging out. They were happy too. Nobody liked how Karen acted, always making rules and being mean. Now, she was gone, and we could all breathe a little easier. It made me think maybe the best way to win is to just keep being yourself. I didn't fight Karen with yelling or tricks. I just kept lighting my fireworks, and the truth took care of the rest. That's pretty cool, right? You don't have to be loud or mean to come out on top. Sometimes, you just keep doing what you love, and things work out. So, what do you think, viewers? Have you ever had a neighbor like Karen, someone who tries to ruin your fun? Maybe it's not a neighbor, maybe it's a kid at school or someone else who's always grumpy. Tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. And if you like this one, let me know if you want more. I've got lots of ideas. This night was wild, and I'm so glad I got to share it with you. Keep being awesome, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.